In this lesson, we will look at how we compare and order integers. When we compare numbers, we need to think about where the numbers are located on a number line. Ordering numbers from least to greatest means that we are going to list them as they would appear on the number line from left to right. So in our listings, our negative numbers will come first in order, then we'll get to 0, and then our positive values will be listed in order from least to greatest. When we are comparing two numbers to one another, we are going to use the symbols less than, greater than, or equal to, so that when we read the statement with the appropriate sign, the comparison of values makes sense. In the first statement, we're comparing -6 to 0. Now right away, if you think about the fact that going from left to right on the number line means that the negative numbers would come first when we list least to greatest, our -6 is going to be to the left of 0, so it is going to be less than 0. So we'll put this mark in where we are pointing to the smaller number, and if we read this statement, it says -6 is less than 0. In our second example, we're comparing -32 to -31. Now if you think about the number line and you think about which number is closer to 0, the absolute value, or the distance from 0 to 31, is less than, it's shorter than, the distance from 0 to -32. But we have to go from left to right on the number line. So that means that we are looking from left to right, we're going to see the numbers that are farther away from 0 first on the number line. We'll get closer and closer to 0, and then we'll move into the positive. So if we were reading a number line from left to right, -32 would come first. So -32 is less than -31. Now that feels backwards from the positive values, because if you think about the number line, reading left to right on the negative side, we're getting closer to 0, but when we read left to right on the positive side, we're getting farther from 0. So be very careful when you're comparing those negative values. When we are comparing -6 to -6.5, well, -6 is actually closer to 0 on the negative side, so it would be greater than -6.5. When we are given a list of numbers and asked to order them from least to greatest, we're going to start by focusing on the negative values first. So we have -8, -11, -2, and putting them in order from least to greatest means we're going to take the negative value that is farther from 0 first. That would be -11. As we move on the number line, we're going to see -8 next. We're getting closer to 0, so now we're at -2. Well, we're out of negative values, so we'll look. Do we have 0 in the list? Yes, so that goes next. Now we can focus on the positive values, and I see a +12 and a +15. Well, 12 would come next, and then 15. Okay, we'll do one more example of ordering numbers from least to greatest. Again, start with the negative values first. So let's pull all of those. We have -41, -39, and -40. Okay, -41 is going to show up first on the number line. It's farther from 0 than -40, which would be next, or -39. Okay, we don't have 0 in our list, so we can now move on to the positive values, and we have 39, which would come next, and then 42. All right, mathematicians, make sure you have all of these examples down. Don't forget to do the WSQ for this video lesson. Please read those questions very carefully before you respond.